Hi, this is Colorful Foresight where we intuitively connect from within. And it's woo woo time where we connect our woo woo into our mundane living. My name is Sylvia of Colorful Foresight, and here we have Heather from Indigo Jaguar Intuitive Arts. And today's topic is on poetry and automatic writing. Again, I'm going to ask you the same question. Is there a difference between just writing versus imagination versus automatic writing? For me, there is an imagination when I write, but sometimes I could write even without thinking, and that to me is more like automatic writing. But it could be both, you know. I mean, there are books out there that have been known to be very successful, and it could have been channeled without it being like a channeling book.
Mm-hmm.
So, what comes to your mind when you hear that for yourself, especially when it comes to poetry?
For me, growing up, my go-tos were um, writing little stories, drawing little pictures. When I wasn't outside, I was in, doing that. Um, I had my comic books growing up, so I would get inspired with my comic books, and I would, write like my own little stories. I think since I was a kid, I must have written at least, or started writing, at least. If I had continued, I probably would have had about 6 books by now. Personally, writing has always expressing poetry. Me loving music. When I was younger, I wanted to be a singer and I wanted to be a lyricist. And so, my vinyls, I would pull out, the vinyl sleeve and look at the lyrics, and I would look stuff up. I would take books out of the library. I would take thesauruses, and play around with words and things. And so it's always been something I've been interested in. I am a journal junkie. Love my journals. I just brought one of these ones to show. This was from like the late 2000s or whatever. So for me, when I was really getting into my poetry, I really gravitated towards singer songwriters like Tori Amos for one. The way she wrote, because you would listen or read a song, interpret it in so many ways. Stevie Nicks has been another incredible lyricist. I love her work. Ani DeFranco. I know I'm missing a couple of other people, but even profound. Like, a lot of people don't realize a lot of '80s music was really about that time. Sorry if you heard that. That's my cat. Nope. Go on. Go see Daddy. Um, so just looking now and pull up lyrics I didn't see before, and I see these incredible, beautiful passages from writers like Martin Gore. He's the main songwriter for Depeche Mode. Robert Smith from The Cure.
Are you thinking
And
of knowing that you are in the process of creating Oracle? Do you add that line? Could you have that poetic flair to
oh,
it?
yes, and well, I haven't written much yet. I'll look for like maybe a key. One time I was playing with an image on a card, and I just started typing. I'm like, okay, this may not be as difficult because some things started coming, and I look at it, and I'm like, well, that sounds kind of interesting. But I'm also open to, because I really love Colette Baron Reed's decks. Her artist, um, Jenna De Cortalia, just did some really amazingly beautiful images, and just the way the Colette writes too. Also, it's very inspiring. So it's not copywriting, but I highlights. I like how this person says this. I like how that person adds that. Like with tarot, you have your basic Rider Waite, but there are more decks now, like the Muse deck. I have one that's the Tarot de Louis, which is more of a darker gothic version with that's full of like folklore and Disneyland kind of imagery and stories. It's the same basic root of RWS, but taking those original ideas and expand them in different forms, like prism. Like taking with the strength, we put in your own personal prism, and what words and feelings and sensations, images like that.
Because you're creative in so many ways. You're creative in painting,
Different ways, arts, yeah.
right? You're creative with your lyrics, your words, poetically. I mean, like you said, creativity is really in everything. It's just how you look at it.
And because I mean, some of these books for each deck of cards I have is like that thick, and so I can't memorize them all.
Yeah.
So every now and then I'll just go. I pretty much make a connection with the card and what I'm intuitively feeling from the card at that time, because this happened last was it last week, and and it happens to a lot of us readers, is that we'll be doing group readings and that one card will come out a couple times, but for each person's question it'll show a different representation of the person. So this card here, these are the points, the strong points coming from this card for this particular individual, but you pull that out again for a different question, and you're like, but in this card, this is how I see this instead interpreted for your question. And it's just
So besides, so you poetry just to journal, which is kind of cool. You use poetry in a lyrics way because it's poetic. A lot of those people you mentioned, they do write
sometimes,
poetically. What other thing come to mind?
well, I like writing. I've always loved writing short stories, things that I've
Oh,
been interested in. Sometimes I'll write and write and write, rewrite, and by the time I get to the third or fourth rewrite, the energy is gone. But at least at that time, it served that outlet that I needed. Because writing anything artistic is are great ways for meditation, or especially now in this day and time. I like that it is becoming more mainstream to talk about mindfulness, talking about gratitude. A lot of DBT courses, which is dialectical behavioral therapy.
you know what? I do meditation, but I prefer maybe painting or writing or journaling, or you're just showing the many different ways that people can meditate and tap into
Mhm.
their emotion without meditating. We're not
Meditating is hard for a lot of people. Yeah, even if it's just like a
cooking,
minute of
right?
just taking a
Cooking.
couple of deep breathing,
Yeah.
just 3 deep breaths, that can get you grounded really quick. And you know, it's okay for us to feel negative. We're allowed. It's just as long as you don't sit in it for a long time. But it's our emotions are a part of who we are. It's they're nothing to be ashamed of. And for me, journaling was very helpful. About 5 years ago, when I had gotten sick, and every day I got up, all I could do was just write, and I just kept writing and writing and writing, and it was like for a year. And to get help us through those hard times, if it's meditating is difficult and it's hard to stay focused, that's why writing, doing art, or going out into nature, and just sticking your feet on the ground, bare feet on the ground for a few minutes, and reconnecting to Mother Earth and getting grounded, and allowing that energy. There's a great documentary before I go off too much that I want to recommend. It's called Earthing, and it came out in 2013. I can't remember the name of the gentleman who did it, but it's fascinating how he learned how much of our bodies we can heal by just getting back into the nature, the natural energy of the earth, the electromagnetic energy, because it's a part of us, and how by allowing that energy to come up and through our bodies, we can heal a lot of things in our bodies. Um,
Yeah.
and
You
grabbing
know
a
what? It's great.
medication or a pill for everything.
So many
They're
resources.
important to have a balanced, medical doctor, but also make sure that you can, if you can, do a lot of holistic stuff, in along with it combined, you know. So
Great, great. I mean, you just listening to you, I was just seeing there's so many different ways. I could see the creativity in my writing as well, but also dancing is creative. Never thought of it, how important
hmm
creativity is to our mental health, period. Nature, there's so many different ways. Um, some people need
make
other people. Like my mother, she liked having other people around. That keeps her. Otherwise, she start affect her health, her depression. Some people like being by themselves and just whatever.
mhm.
But whatever worked for each person. So thank you for sharing,
Mhm.
Heather.
Thank you.